Hey everybody, this is Mr. Phil at Mr. Phil's Alabama Hot Sauce. That's alabamahotsauce.com on the web. Sorry about the noise, but I stopped at one of my favorite barbecue restaurants to get me a barbecue sandwich. And as soon as I did, I thought about slashing that thing over with some Louisiana style hot sauce. So today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head back to the kitchen. I'm gonna take you with me. We're gonna do a mash ferment of some wonderful red hot chili peppers. And in about 2 weeks, I'm gonna turn those into about 25 or 30 bottles of wonderful Louisiana hot sauce. So you join me in the kitchen and I'll see you in just a minute. Thank you. Hey everybody, this is Mr. Phil. I'm back in the kitchen with you today. And kind of a cold, dreary day outside in North Alabama, but I'm getting ready to warm things up. Today we're going to do a mash fermentation of red hot chili peppers. And the reason I'm so excited about this particular one is I already know what kind of sauce is going to be made from these. My favorite kind, which is a Louisiana style hot sauce. Now, Louisiana style hot sauces are nothing but pepper mash, vinegar, salt, and then they're pureed to a complete silky smoothness. They're great on everything. They got that wonderful tang of vinegar. And in addition to that, they have that great taste of these red hot chili peppers. Now, I'm going to start by gloving up. And I'll tell you before we got started, I have sanitized all the counters. I've sanitized the cutting board. I've sanitized all my tools and implements. I've sanitized the mixer, all the jars, so everything is spotlessly clean. Now, before I use them, I'm going to spray them again with our Star Sand. You know that I love that stuff. It's a great way to sanitize anything, and I couldn't hardly do without it. So before we get started, I'll do a little more spraying, and then we're going to get to making this pepper mash for this wonderful Louisiana hot sauce. All right, let's see here. If you see my videos before, you know I double glove. I got sensitive skin. These peppers are pretty hot. I don't want to burn myself. And I certainly don't want to get this on my hands and touch my face, eyes, or anything else on my body because it'll set you on fire. Now, here's the beautiful red hot chilies. These things are wonderful. They're spicy. They're about like Serranos, maybe a little hotter, and they're absolutely wonderful. Now what we do to prepare these, we're just going to come in here and cut the end of the pepper off, the stem off, and then I'm going to cut it in half. So, we cut the pepper in half. We cut the stem off, cut the pepper in half, stem off. We'll cut this one 3 times. And then we transfer it over here, put our trash in the trash pan. Now, before we started the camera, I cut up a total of about 1,435 grams of these red hot chili peppers. What we're going to do now is we're going to put these things into our blender and we're going to chop them up into a fine mash. But before we get started, I'm going to spray Star Sand in the jar that's going to eventually hold these peppers. And Star Sand, as I've told you before, is a no-rip sanitizer. It's perfectly safe. We just set it down up here and let it dry. I got a little funnel to help me get in the jars there, so I'm going to spray that. I've already sprayed down the inside of the blender, and in addition, I've sterilized this with hot water. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to move the blender up here where you can see it, hear this awful noise. We're going to start smoked not hot peppers in our blender here. Now, as I told you before, we're going to chop this up into a kind of medium mash. We chop up into a mash because fermentation works better when there's a lot of pepper surface area exposed. And nothing exposes it better than mash. Okay, now, put our top back on here. Well, I say we will. There we go. As I've told you before, we've also got this muddler to help us keep this pepper down on the blade. And we're going to set this on about a medium speed. Grind it up there. Y'all gotta excuse me. I'm gonna have to go to the face mask because this hot pepper is starting to get down in my lungs. All right. And we'll add some more peppers in here. But I got to tell you, these things smell very good. Just going to make some good Louisiana hot sauce. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Tabasco. I'm sure everybody is. But this sauce is going to be probably a couple of notches higher than Tabasco sauce. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get our jar out here and our funnel, and I'm going to start slowly pouring this stuff in the jar here. All right. Oh, this is looking so good. Fill our jar back up with peppers. Get our muddler ready. All right. Here we go. Look at this. Delicious. Of course, I'm making a mess. Surprise, surprise. We don't want to leave any of this goodness in here. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this. Now, we'll use this little stick. Get this stuff poked down there. All right. Now, I've got 58 grams of pure, clean pickling salt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little bit of it in there. I'm going to come in here and stir it in. Oh, this is looking so good. That salt is already bringing out a ton of moisture out of these peppers. There we go. We got nearly a half a gallon of red hot chili pepper mash. Now what we're going to do, I've got a one-way valve lid. We're going to screw this very tight on the top of this jar. Now, I've told you before, what happens in a fermentation is that the salt draws the moisture out of the mash. In addition to that, it makes the mash liquid very, very saline. And that saline liquid protects against any microbes that would live in that jar. The only one it doesn't kill is the one we love, which is lactobacillus. So lactobacillus is going to convert to lactic acid. It's going to float up, pressurize that jar. It's going to push anything that's in the headspace out, because the enemy of this fermentation is oxygen. Any oxygen that's in contact with the top of that pepper can cause comm yeast. Comm yeast is ugly, doesn't taste great, perfectly fine to eat, but I don't like it, so I want to do it without it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little handheld vacuum pump, all of the oxygen, all of the air that's in the headspace of this jar, and I'm going to create a vacuum. And if there's a vacuum in there, that means there's no oxygen. If there's no oxygen can make any contact with the peppers. And so this is going to be a perfectly clean, beautiful looking fermentation. So I'm drawing out that air in that headspace. Wow. There we go. Now, what we have here is we have a beautiful jar of fermenting red hot chili pepper mash, fermenting in a vacuum. As time goes on, a day or two, the gas produced in there is going to fill that vacuum up. When it gets to a pressure above ambient pressure, it's going to exhaust CO2, but the inside of that jar will never have any more oxygen in it. It's going to always be full of CO2. And that's what's going to make our ferment clean, neat, and it's going to be very, very tangy. Now, I'm going to let this ferment go for about probably 2 weeks. We're then going to come in, we're going to mix it with vinegar, we're going to test the salinity, we're going to test the pH, we're going to blend it down silky, silky smooth, and it's going to be a wonderful Louisiana style hot sauce. Now, remember, anytime you ferment, you have to clean, clean, clean. Everything has to be sterilized. Anything this product comes in contact with has to be sterilized, sanitized, and cleaned. And if you do that, there's no better way to preserve food and to preserve a hot sauce than fermentation. Look, I thank you folks for coming out and watching this video for me today. I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it if you'd view my other videos. I need the view time. I need the subscribers. It helps me support my channel. And once again, thank you for coming out, and I will see you next time. Thank you.